A few moments with you on the pew, pew, pew.
What's the word? My name's Oliver.
And my name's Matthew.
And this is Mason Hennessy. He's someone that's, on our floor here at Mary Crest and a good friend of both Matthew and I. So,
yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Mason?
Yeah, I'm a freshman religious studies major here. I'm also a double major in Catholic education. When I grow up, I want to be a Catholic teacher, hopefully. High school teacher. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else.
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Northern Virginia, right outside D.C., A-Town, stand up.
Okay.
So, VA.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you're on here to talk about joy and happiness.
Yes.
So, first of all, why both?
Well, I love joy. Happiness is cool, too. But, I think that there's a very important distinction between them that, we never really talk about. Especially, since so much of what we read as Catholics is is literature that's translated. A lot of times that word is lost in translation, and it becomes like St. Paul talks about happiness a lot, but I would probably say he's talking about joy more. And he wouldn't make that distinction because happiness might not have been a word in his language. But yeah, so joy is I think is this thing that you kind of always have, no matter whether you're happy or sad or confused or anything like that. It's kind of your baseline. And so you can be joyful in the absence of happiness. And joy is something that's kind of it's more godly. It's not fleeting. It's very peaceful to be joyful. While happiness is more you're kind of always chasing the next thing that's going to make you happy. The way that I'm talking about happiness, you'd probably more associate it with pleasure. But yeah, I'm going to talk more. I'm going to explain the difference more as we get into more.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And then, how would you say one could, achieve joy? Or what you're saying is, this, more, long-term, peaceful state?
Right. So, I think that joy is more achieved through, godly things. So, first of all, prayer, having a relationship with God, definitely joy. Living virtuously, just loving people, having holy relationships. And then, happiness might be through, having nice clothes or having, getting a nice house or, eating good food or, other things like that would just, or, even, people complimenting you, that would probably fall into happiness and not joy because it's not, really coming from God. Yeah.
And, how would you say, do you have an example from, your own life recently?
Yeah, so, man, so, sometimes, so a good example of, so yeah, what makes me joyful is loving, if I had a day where I've just had a lot of good if I've been really virtuous the whole day, or if I've in combination with having a good prayer life that day, if I just prayed for an hour or something that day, then I remember whenever I go to sleep, I'm today was a good day, today I was joyful, I want to recreate that tomorrow. So I always try to gauge that at the end of the day, what I did right and what I did wrong, and those are definitely big things. Is prayer life, and virtues. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, so you're touching on kind of, not that virtues are inherently Catholic, but kind of prayer life. At least in a Catholic Marianist institution, we think of it from a Catholic lens. How would you explain people that aren't necessarily Catholic or a Christian faith background, but are still joyful?
So there's a big I always think about this because I think that my parents are very joyful people. And that was kind of weird for me when I first started to think about this. Is they don't even ever think about God. How are they joyful? What is, and just other people, you might call happy. I think before I found God, for example, I was happy. I remember a certain time, right after I just got in a car and I was I was on top of the world, like girls liked me and stuff, and I was like, I remember I was at this like dance event, and I was like, this is the happiest I've been in my life. Like I'm so happy right now. And then I actually remember going to bed that night, and I was like so tired. I was just like kind of dull because there's not really like a reason to be happy. Um, that's kind of like a distinction between joy and happiness. But I'm getting off topic. So oh yeah, so like my parents are, I think, joyful, um, and but they also don't practice their faith. So I would say that because they're always coming in contact with my siblings and I, and also just like other people, and they're always like, I think they're very good at loving and living virtuously. I think that I grew up in a house that was very virtue focused, and so I think that like because they love so much and because they do like live the virtues, they have like a certain amount of joy that like isn't like completely fulfilling and isn't completely like peaceful. You're not like completely at peace because they don't have a relationship with God, but they're kind of living life in a way that God like wants you to.
Mm.
So it's kind of like they're like accidentally doing the right thing, you know? It's like um but yeah. Yeah. And then I today I was reading my philosophy homework, which I haven't really been doing much. But I just started doing it because my teacher started making us do quizzes on them. Um, and today it was about happiness, and I was like, whoa, this is nice. I'm talking about this later. And it's like Aristotle, um, and like, man, something I kind of forgot to mention this earlier in the just like the description of joy. Um, but like joy makes sadness better. Like you can be, if you're joyful and you're sad, then it's like you can kind of handle anything, or like even just like any suffering. Like Aristotle said, nobility shines through nobility shines through even in such circumstances when a man bears many great misfortunes with good grace, not because he is insensitive to pain, but because he is noble minded. And like he before this he was like kind of comparing like nobility, or he was describing nobility as like living virtuously, and he was saying that nobility is like joy almost. Um, but I mean, I think that's a great example of like, yeah, sorry. And then another thing he said was, no function of man possesses as much stability as do activities in conformity with virtue. These seem to be even more durable than scientific knowledge. And like, I don't know. That was also just another thing. It's like it's very hard to like kind of get beat up if you're joyful. Um, but yeah, what was the? Oh yeah, how can Catholics be? I mean, how can non-Catholics be? Um, but yeah, I think that there's also a level of. I mean, I was kind of thinking a secular way for secular people, but there's also a non-religious aspect to it. So I mean, sorry, a different religion aspect to it. So I think that other levels of spirituality can also lead to joy because you're kind of um, like mocking the way that like God wants it to be. Like if you're praying and you like really just want to like reach God, then like I don't know. This is kind of heretical, and you know we've talked about this in our Bible study, but um, it's like if you're truly seeking God, maybe in a different spirituality, you still might find it. You still might find Him and like find that joy. Like a lot of people, even in like yoga or something, like they're not spiritual at all in their life, and then they'll start doing yoga and they start to like meditate, and like that meditation, I think is so huge for joy, and that's something I always try. Like my sister, like secular people around me will be like, how is like how do you like get happy, or like how do you become joyful or whatever, or usually say happy, and I'm like trying to basically tell them to go pray because like that's just what works for me, but I'm like I would say like meditation, like just going home and just like sitting there and like journaling is like gonna be what's best for you, like that's gonna make you more joyful. um but so I think there are a lot of practices that kind of mock the Catholic or Christian morality, um, that which in turn do bring you joy. But on top of that, it is like loving, because like God is just that's what He told us to do. Like, because like my parents, for instance, they love people, and they don't love people because they love God, but and because they're loving people, they do love God. You know, or they're loving God through loving people. So, yeah.
Kind of going off that question, like, because you kind of danced around the idea, but like, do you think then, like, if people can find joy through other things, is like God necessary for joy, do you think?
Um. Well, yes, because I would still say that they are like using God to have joy there. I would just say that they don't know. So are you asking like
Yeah, no, that I
Like-
think that kind of answers
okay,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
Word.
Awesome. And then like, why do you like think that joy is like important?
This is like the best. Like joy. I love just like talking about how like awesome joy is, because like man. So like earlier what I was talking about with like Aristotle, he was talking about like how it's like the best thing, or sorry, he was talking about how it kind of helps you from getting down. And like my brother texted me earlier, um, and he was literally like, how can you believe in a God if like sometimes you just feel like so down? And I was like, and that what that helped me realize is like, if you're joyful, like you just never feel that down. You know, like you might like go through persecution, you might like feel horrible physically, but like you're always gonna be like you can just return to that baseline. You can feel joyful all the time. So like that's one huge thing for me. And it's also important to have joy, because if not, if you have joy, then you're peaceful, and you can kind of just be at peace with life. You can be content with your life if you're joyful. But if you're happy and not joyful, then you're probably going to be constantly seeking happiness. And that's kind of like it's kind of a danger. Well, it's definitely a dangerous life, because things that make you happy can turn into like overindulgence a lot of times. So like, for example, like eating, great thing. I'm not sorry. I just want to put a disclaimer out here. Happiness is not a bad thing, but like eating, happiness. I mean, eating is a great thing, makes you happy. But overeating, or like eating foods that kind of just like exploit your body, and like are just to like not to satiate you at all, but kind of just to like give you pleasure, like over and over again, that would be like gluttony. And then like having a nice house, like that's not a bad thing at all. It's a good thing. But then if you become obsessed with taking care of it, or you become greedy because you have this super nice house, that is when like happiness becomes a problem. But like with joy, you can't really have like an overindulgence of that. Like something I was thinking the other day is like, overjoyed, like that's gotta be an oxymoron. Like you can't be overjoyed like that. That's like something you love God too much. You know, like yeah. But wait, what was I talking about originally? Happiness? I don't even know. But something else I want to talk about was like, which is really important for me, is like, how do you like gauge happiness? Sorry, how do you gauge like when you're joyful? And something for me was like, if I do feel that peace that I was referring to earlier, like if I can go to sleep, if I'm like getting in my bed and there's nothing like making me happy at the moment, if I'm just like climbing in bed, like brushing my teeth, and I feel really good, then that means I'm joyful. You know, if I'm just like walking around and like, here's another thing. If there's a guy named Thomas Dubay, you read one of his books. He is always talking about like being alive, and like how being joyful means that you're alive. And being alive kind of means, or sorry, being joyful makes you be alive. And being alive means that you see beauty, and you see things in their most beautiful way. So like walking outside, if you're joyful, just looking at like a tree is like just like great. Like saints would just like look at like bugs and just be like, this is awesome. And that's like another thing that I think about with like confession. Like after confession, I'm so overjoyed. Not overjoyed. I'm so joyful. And that's why like music sounds so good. After confession, like that's something I always listen to music when I go back because I can really enjoy the beauty of it. But yeah.
Awesome.
Wow. That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, I have some hot seat questions for you.
Okay.
So, all right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. If you could switch your confirmation saint, who would you pick?
John the Baptist. All day. Hold on. Turn. Is that the? Yeah. We get a zoom. No, I'm just kidding.
Third favorite animal.
Gorillas. No, hold on. Whale sharks? No. Gorillas, whale sharks, manta rays. Manta rays. Coolest things. Moana. Watch it. Whale sharks. Or sorry, manta rays.
Least favorite gospel.
Easy. And it's Mark. He doesn't go into detail about anything. He doesn't go into detail about anything.
Favorite heresy.
Man. That hell is not real and it's actually just purgatory. Or that hell is not eternal.
Wow.
Sorry.
Is buff Jesus cool or disrespectful?
Man. The shrine of the man. Aryan buff Jesus.
Yeah.
Neither.
What is it then?
Why it just
It
exists?
just is.
It just is. I don't know. He was cool.
Worst Protestant denomination.
Dang. Anglicans, because they're so close. But they're just like they only exist because like this guy was like, I want to get divorced. So, I don't know. And sorry. No, I'm just kidding. But they also don't like, or they have like kings and stuff, and they get like coronated and they're like holy and stuff, and it's like that's not real. I don't know. I don't know.
Women priest, LRW.
Man, I don't want to get prosecuted for my answer here. Like, man, let me just say this. I have asked smart Catholic people this question. And I don't know if I've gotten a satisfying answer for why it's not okay. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Man. Chocolate. Soft serve. Twist. Just vanilla and chocolate.
Okay.
Love that.
Cake cone. Sorry, sprinkles too.
Okay.
Favorite pasta noodle?
Bow tie. Sorry.
No more Hail Mary, no more Our Father.
No more Our Father easily.
Oh, that was quick.
Wait, hold on. Because Our Father's like the Lord's Prayer, and he was like, do this. Hail Mary's kind of just dogma, but like...
You said it quickly.
I like the Hail Mary better. Our Father's out of here.
No more adoration or no more confession?
Man. No more adoration.
Ohio or Virginia?
Is that even a question, dude? Virginia all the way. VA term, yes, stand up.
Last
A-town.
question. No more girls or no more Mike's Deli?
The buttery French toast. No more girls. Because we on women. Because we on women now, not girls, right? Right?
Yes, sir! Alright, well, that's
Right?
it.
Ben?
That's it for you. Alright,
Ben, no more girls?
We're ending it with that.
Alright. Word.
Do you have anything else?
Oh yeah, I have this one thing that I just thought of. It might be the new, like, Pythagorean theorem. So you know faith, hope, and love, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The cardinal virtues, or maybe the theological virtues, right? Faith plus love equals joy and hope.
Whoa. People are going to be unpacking that.
I know. So think on it. Leave your answer in the comments. Right? Like, hit the ding, right?
Yeah.
We might have to invite you back later.
Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow.
Boom.
Yeah.
Easy as that.
Yeah, I'll see you
A
then.
little costume change. We're back for another one,
Exactly,
right? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Word.
I think we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. That's
All
the
right.
worst.
Let's leave it at that. Yeah. Makineko.